There's a lot of things that we can speak about nutritionally when it comes to menopause and preparing ourselves to be the healthiest that we can be. There's two nutrients that we should always be focusing on, but we should really be focusing on even more as we hit that perimenopause and menopause stage. And the first one's protein. We really want to prevent muscle wasting. It's very common as we get older. We do a lot less weight bearing. That's why we do really want to make sure we are continuing to do weight bearing exercises, things that keep our muscle, but protein's also going to help prevent muscle wasting. We don't want to lose muscle. When we don't get enough protein, we do lose that muscle. Going within that same theme is we want to make sure we're getting enough calcium. Calcium is very important in helping us to keep our bones healthy and to prevent osteoporosis and osteopenia. And they're very similar. It's just weakening of the bones and holes in the bones. It's very common post-menopause, and it's something we really want to prevent. It can cause a lot of issues. It can cause us to become wheelchair bound earlier on as well, and to just make sure that our bones and our muscles stay strong and healthy. We really need to make sure that we're getting enough protein and enough calcium. For somebody who doesn't eat dairy for whatever reason, please speak to your doctor about taking calcium supplements. Also speak to your doctor or a registered dietitian about foods that contain calcium that are not dairy. There are a lot of foods nowadays that are fortified with calcium. And what fortified means is that we're basically adding it to something that it never was in there. Sometimes you'll see things that are enriched and fortified. So enriched is basically something that was in the food, but when the food went through its processing, that was stripped of those nutrients. So they enrich it, they put it back in there, and fortifying it is putting something in that was never in there before. So we do want to make sure that we're getting enough calcium. We do want to make sure we're getting enough protein to make sure we aren't muscle wasting and to make sure that we're preventing osteoporosis.
I'm actually going to make a pineapple fried rice. In the original recipe, it calls for ham and white rice. I'm actually taking it a step further. I'm adding a little bit of extra vegetables, and nice. I used brown rice. I made it yesterday and it actually came out very good. So I'm so happy. I read the instructions for once. So I've just heated up some avocado oil right here. I'm going to add some onion. You hear the sizzle? So the color in this dish is absolutely magnificent. We have ginger here, yellow pepper, red pepper, some pineapple, also spinach. We have to get our leafy greens in all the time to keep us healthy. We have peas, scallions for dressing, and some carrots. As we all approach getting older, we've got to try and get as much vitamins and minerals as possible and proteins. So I'm going to add some garlic to this, like 3 teaspoons. I'm just using a little tiny of ginger. You can chop it, but actually it's better if you grate it because the juice from the ginger goes into the flavour. I could have done it with the garlic, but I meal prep my garlic all the time. I buy it and then put it in a blender. So I'm just going to grate some ginger there. Enough, not too much. I don't want it overpowering. So I'm going to saute that. The smell at this point is absolutely incredible. I blanched my carrots just for 2 minutes because of time.
Just to make them cook evenly.
Yeah. So there's the carrot. You get that really going well. Then I'm going to add our pepper. This is a really nice dish to make. Even the next day, it tastes just as good. You see all the colours in there now.
Yeah, the different colored peppers are such a good way to have the multicolor and
high in vitamin C and fiber.
So lots of different colours going on. Eat the rainbow. I'm going to take the cup in there. I'm going to rush it a little bit just so I can get the brown rice in. A day before rice is always better. So if you have leftovers, it's definitely a good thing to have. And it always seems like a little bit dry, but it does get better. Also, you can add an egg to this as a protein. I'm not going to add the egg. This is just a splash of soy sauce in here. And then we're going to add a little bit of sesame oil. Like a spoon. And then we're going to just start mixing that all in together. And now I'm going to add some pineapple to it. If you feel like you need a little bit more soy sauce, you can absolutely add it. So you feel that come together, quite beautiful. So I'm just going to let that cook. And then when it's done, you're just going to top it off with the scallions on the top, like the little scallions. I'm going to show you after. I put it in a pineapple bowl. So it's all done in pineapple bowl.
It's so pretty.
I'm proud of it.
Like literally gorgeous.
I know. Stop. That's amazing.
It's so gorgeous. Like
So
the
my
prettiest
pineapple bowl.
dish.
Thank you so much. And
Lucky
I like
for
the-
whoever is in your house.
I know. I like
They're
your
ready
food
to-
for life background.
the word of the week is actually pineapple and fresh basil because I have my
Oh,
basil
beautiful.
pan, and I will cut my herbs, you know. So that's the water of the week.
Persian frittata. I love Persian food, and a lot of it is very complicated to make and a lot of steps, and sometimes doesn't always come out great on the first try. But I really love Persian food, and particularly because they use a lot of fresh herbs, and I just love fresh herbs. And so if you do love fresh herbs, you're going to love this recipe. So this is called a Kuku Sabzi, and it is essentially an herb frittata. It's very heavy in herbs. You can add as much or as little as you want, but it really does call for a lot of herbs. They do use a lot of herbs in their cooking. So I'm making this in a single pan. You can make this for a crowd in a bigger pan and you would add like 10 eggs. I have 4 eggs in here right now. This is probably going to feed like 2 people or 1. I have 1 already made. So what you want to do is you really want to beat those eggs nicely. And the motion when you beat eggs, but you do want to do this kind of motion to get a lot of air in the eggs because that's what's going to get your eggs to be fluffy. So whether you're making a regular omelet or a frittata, which we definitely want to be fluffy, we want to make that motion so we get a lot of air in there and really fluff up those eggs. So now you can use whatever herbs you want. Traditionally in this dish, they use green onion, parsley, dill, and cilantro. I absolutely despise cilantro, so I am not using cilantro in this dish. But I am going to use some green onion. So you really want to load it up in there. I know it seems like a lot and overkill, but I promise you it is so delicious. So I'm going to do my green onions in there. And then I'm going to do some parsley.
The volume of that egg when you cook it is going to get bigger to
Exactly.
filling that up with the herbs.
Exactly. So we have that. And you're going to see like it's like really heavy in the herbs. And then the last thing is dill. I also absolutely love dill. So now I'm putting my dill in there. And again, you put as much or as little as you want, but you're going to see it's like very heavy herb and it's just so delicious. Like it is absolutely delicious. It's like such a good lunch. You can put cheese in there if you want. Again, it's not traditionally how it's served, but you really can make this however you want. But I would probably put some feta cheese in there. It would be really good. Another thing that they put in this dish is turmeric. It kind of makes the eggs a little bit darker. They also love turmeric, and as do I, so that works.
Yeah.
So you put some turmeric in there.
And you can just sort of eyeball that.
There's no real measurement. It's again as much or as little as you want. Some salt and some pepper. And then you're going to mix all that up and you're going to see it's really thickened up with all of the herbs. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my stove and use a neutral oil, one that can handle heat. So I'm going to use some avocado oil. I'm going to whip that up again. It's like I said, very thick, full of herbs. If you're an herb person, this is for you. It's delicious. It smells so good. I can't even tell you. Then we're going to put this in the pan. And you want it to thicken up. So we don't really want to move it around so that it becomes a thin omelet. We want it to be fluffy. You can let this cook the whole way on the pan. But what I usually like to do is I let the bottom sort of cook. And when the edges become like more cooked, I put it in the oven at 350 for 3 to 5 minutes. And then it comes out looking like this. And it is
That's so pretty.
super delicious. I can't even tell you it's so delicious. And you can put it on some toast. You can put it on a rice cracker. I made it with a little tomato salad just to add some color. But it's pretty. It's so good. And it's a really good Mother's Day dish. If you're making Mother's Day brunch, this is really good for Mother's Day. You can make it in a big pan. You can put some little cheeses on the side if people want to add it to it. And it's delicious.